According to Guinness Book of World Records, the brightest bioluminescent bay is in Puerto Rico on the island of Vieques. The locals here in La Parguera down on the Caribbean Sea are telling me the bioluminescent bay here is brighter than it's been in many, many years. They believe it's brighter than Vieques. We're going to jump on a boat, go out to a remote island, enjoy the sunset, have a nice swim in the crystal clear waters. We're going to take a swim in the bio bay, check out this super bright bioluminescence. Of course, we're going to enjoy some local food, make some local friends. And then tomorrow morning, we're going to get up early, jump on a dive boat, head out to La Pared, which is the wall where there's a great reef that drops off over there. So join me as we explore La Parguera, the out islands, and what's happening 100 feet below the surface down here in the Caribbean Sea. La Parguera is located within the pueblo of Lajas on the southern Caribbean coast of Puerto Rico, west of Ponce and Guánica. La Parguera is a beautiful fishing village known for chinchoreando, which is a local island term for bar hopping. There are plenty of restaurants and bars here, but the main attraction are the local cays in the bioluminescent bay. Since the tour starts early to catch the sunset, we grabbed some food on the way into town at a famous restaurant called La Guardarraya. This restaurant is known for the chuleta cancan, a giant pork chop which is paired perfectly with a cold beer, tostones, and arroz y habichuela. This restaurant has a beautiful mountain setting and was truly paradise during this tropical rain. As late afternoon temperatures began to cool, we headed into the village of La Parguera for our Sunset Bio Bay boat tour. I wondered, could this be the brightest bioluminescent bay in the world? In fact, Puerto Rico has 3 of the 5 brightest bioluminescent bays in the world. Vieques, allegedly the brightest, we're going to find out. La Parguera, down here, where we're going to see firsthand. And then, of course, also in Fajardo. There's a bioluminescent bay there as well. So it's just part of the many amazing adventures that we can find here on the island of Puerto Rico. I have been to the Bio Bay in Vieques and the bioluminescent bay here once before. I can assure you all 3 bioluminescent bay experiences in Puerto Rico are going to be fantastic. I booked with Hooked on Adventure, located in Carmen Shell Shop. This was a quaint family-run establishment and tour outfitter. They had great local gifts in their store. The tour begins from the dock just outside the back door of the gift shop. Another gorgeous island moment unfolds before us. With Angel as our captain, we threw off the dock lines and headed out towards the island of Caracoles. This is a spot where locals and tourists alike come to soak with drink in hand and listen to local island music playing from various boats anchored here. This is a good time to mention that cold beer and refreshments are also served on this boat experience. You can snorkel around the mangrove island, which has a wide variety of tropical marine life. I grabbed my dive mask and hopped in the warm water. After visiting Caracoles, Angel then took us to a remote mangrove island where we were once again able to swim in the clear, sandy-bottom, shallow waters of the Caribbean while enjoying this amazing sunset. Peaceful, quiet, and just us. The temperature of the water was 86 degrees, and I should also mention that the boat was very comfortable and spacious. There's a maximum of 6 guests on the tour. This evening, only 4 of us. As the sun kissed the Caribbean Sea on the horizon, we pulled up anchor and headed to the bioluminescent bay. As the sky became darker, the glowing bioluminescence from the outboard motor created a glowing wake. There's some primal element of fear that comes from jumping into a pitch-black ocean, but after a couple cold Medalla beers, I had mustered up the courage to take the plunge. I did not regret, and nor will you, when you see the bioluminescence from within the water. I recommend bringing a snorkel mask to see the bioluminescence below the surface, as your arms and legs create glowing tracers like something out of a Harry Potter movie. It was actually very safe to swim in this bay. Likely because of movies like Jaws and The Meg, most people fear sharks.
There it is.
I have been on more than 20 dives around the island, and I've only seen harmless nurse sharks. Every time we dive, we're hoping to see sharks, but unfortunately, most sharks are endangered, and therefore it's unlikely to see a shark of any kind. So cast off any fears you may have and jump in the water. Life is a collection of moments, and this one will be at the top of your list. The best time to see the bioluminescent bay is on a new moon, or when it's cloudy. Since this evening was a brand new moon, the sky was pitch black. The planet Venus was the brightest thing in the sky. The Milky Way was also visible right overhead. Photographs do not do this justice, and it's nearly impossible to capture on video. It's hard to explain how special this experience is, and for the price per person, it's hard to beat. I have put a link for the booking in the description. Our minds blown, we pulled up anchor once again and headed back towards the dock. La Parguera is known for these amazing wooden houses tucked within the mangroves. There are endless fishing trips, scuba excursions, water taxis, and even floating tiki bars that will take you out to these amazing mangrove islands. Back at the dock, we spilled into the streets of La Parguera high on dino flatulates and cold beer in search of some late night eats. We were very warmly welcomed at Brújula, a restaurant within the Parguera Plaza Hotel, which is an adults-only hotel. They also had a 24-hour coffee bar. Since this was a Sunday evening in late September, we did not expect for much to be open. So we were very pleased to find this gem serving bacalaíto and deep-fried mahi bites. The experience was very nice, and the people were super friendly. The mojitos were strong, and the food delish. After an amazing evening, we turned in for some sleep, ready to be at the dock at 7 a.m. for our dive trip. My local dive friends and I met at Parguera Bakery and Deli, right next to Paradise Scuba. They had great coffee and breakfast sandwiches, a perfect pre-dive energy stop. Paradise Scuba is a great scuba dive shop and dive experience outfitter on the Caribbean coast of the island. If you're interested in scuba diving the west coast, like Crash Boat Pier or the island of Desecheo, then I would recommend Aquatica in Aguadilla. For scuba trips off the East Coast, I recommend Sea Ventures. They are located in the Marina del Rey, the largest marina in the Caribbean. They do trips to Culebra, Palomino Island, Cayo Diablo, and more. I recently went on a night dive with Sea Ventures, and it was amazing. Check out this footage from the dive.
let's make a movie, with you, baby. I just wanna move with your loving.
The Paradise Scuba Dive boat was right across the street from the dive shop. On the other side of the mangroves was a narrow wooden dock leading to the boathouse. There's something special about jumping on a dive boat first thing in the morning, unsure of what's to come in the deep. It's some of the most amazing things you can do here on the island, and I'm just loving it out here. I just can't even wait to get in the water. So let's go jump on this boat and see what we can find. A quick 20-minute boat ride and we had arrived at La Pared, seemingly at the edge of the world. The main island of Puerto Rico is bordered to the north by the Puerto Rico Trench, which is the second deepest body of water in the world at more than 27,000 feet deep. To the south, the Caribbean Sea drops off to 15,000 feet. Today, we explore the beginning of that drop. This was the deepest dive I have experienced so far at nearly 100 feet deep. We approached the first dive site, which was the deeper of the two dives. I was here with my good friend and scuba instructor to work towards my advanced open water scuba certification. We worked on some deep underwater techniques and talked about certain phenomenon like how an egg maintains its shape in the pressure of the depths, and testing my mind for narcosis by solving math problems. If you are interested in learning to scuba dive, I highly recommend becoming certified in the warm tropical waters around Puerto Rico. You can actually complete the online course and spend only 2 days diving around the island. I have placed a link from my friend's website in the description. We drifted along the wall where the ocean floor drops off into the abyss. We were greeted by this beautiful moray eel. Actually, I'm pretty sure he was trying to get away from us. Hey, wait, come back! Oh well. There were also great examples of sponges and sea fans, as well as many of the usual players around the reef. The reef in this area seemed relatively healthy despite the bleaching and damage of the world's reefs. This is something we should all be aware of and make conscious decisions to protect the oceans of this beautiful planet. After nearly an hour in the water, we began to surface when we were greeted by the schoolless spadefish during our 3-minute safety stop. It seemed as though they were inviting me to join them, so I did. But only for a minute. They were too fast. Back on the boat, we slowly proceeded to the next dive location. Refreshments and snacks were provided. I always love floating out on the ocean on a boat, and today was particularly calm. After the appropriate amount of surface time, we headed back into the water. As soon as we reached the bottom, at around 65 feet, we were greeted by this gorgeous queen angelfish. The reef here was beautiful, like swimming through an aquarium. Not a super common sight here, I spotted this delicious, beautiful hogfish. As the second dive ended, we climbed back on Paradise Diver. Cold beers and refreshments were handed out now that both dives were complete. Back on the dock, we said our goodbyes. I grabbed my dive bag and prepared for the 2+ hour drive back to the metro area. Now that you are in Lajas, you may wish to visit nearby Guánica or Cabo Rojo. Or maybe check out Guavate for some local barbecue pork as you pass through the mountains of Calle. Regardless of where you decide to visit on this beautiful island, you will fall in love with its culture, views, and people. Always remember to be kind and respectful to the locals. A simple act of kindness creates an endless ripple. Hey, are you still here? That's awesome. Check out my channel for more content. Like this video and subscribe.